rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, soldiers of the Lord. One more time, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, rise, shine, give God the glory, glory, soldiers of the Lord. My mama used to sing that song every morning to get us up and ready for school. Bless my mama, Helen Jones, Lamar Hall Taylor. Yes, rise, shine. It's time to go to school. No, rise and shine because God woke you up this morning and woke me up this morning. And for that, I can breathe. I'm alive. I'm grateful. And guess what? I can share all the hearts of love I have on my attire today. Welcome to the January the 14th perspective of the AA Daily Reflections and the Five Agreements by the Ruiz Family. I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but I've been a proud and grateful member for nearly 33 years. If God chooses to wake me up on February the 23rd, we will be celebrating 33 years from active addiction, alcoholism, prostitution, and all the whole 9 yards. But today, He woke me up this morning and said, I have one more soul for you to save. One more soul for you to touch. You don't know who it is, and it ain't none of your business. But because I prepared you, I need to use you. And that's why they call me, right? The cuckoo for Cocoa Pops lady. You'll see in a few more minutes, right? But I thank God for waking me up this morning and you up this morning, obviously, if you're watching it now or even later. So to God be all the glory. All He wants is acknowledgement. And so underneath that parked car nearly 33 years ago, after getting high with my stepson, right, doing all kinds of sexual favors and all the whole 9 yards. And when everything was said and done, he wanted to hurt me like any bitch in the street and like anything else. When we are fearful, we run. And I started running for my life. I got a flashback from my past of going underneath the bed when I was afraid, didn't want nobody to touch me, playing hide and seek. When I saw those cars, I said, if I just get underneath that parked car, he can't get to me. At that time, I only weighed 90 pounds. I didn't look nothing like this. My life flashed before me, the rapes, the beat ups, the suicide attempts, and I was wondering what was wrong with me. Aspirations of wanting to be a model, wanting to be a phys ed teacher, voted one of the most likely to succeed, class vice president, co-captain of the cheerleader team. What's wrong with you, Edwina, that you are underneath a park car? And I hollered out these words, whoever they say you are, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. I don't know you. I heard about you, but I heard you was a punishing God. I don't know you personally for myself. So whoever they say you are, take me out now or show me a better way. And I haven't looked back since. And so that's why I'm sitting in front of you, because He put me on the pathway to recovery of a spiritual journey that's not nearly over yet, right? And then being introduced to the 12 spiritual principles of 12-step programs, a lot of adversities that we experience as human beings, whether it be sex, overworking, lust, love, right? We have 12-step programs for all of them, but they all use the original from Alcoholics Anonymous. And then including the the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. And I thank God that I now understand how I can be the artist using life as my canvas for the rest of my life. I want to fly like an eagle. Oh, yes, I am so excited. Could you imagine me on crack? Okay, listen, before we get started, Edwina, woosah, woosah, woosah. Okay. And I want you to join me in a moment of silence while I play an instrumental song. Your grace and your mercy brought me through. I'm living this moment because of you. I want to praise you and thank you too, for it was your grace and your mercy that brought me through. Turn off your phone, your TV, your radio, close your eyes and just marinate on the melody and the spiritual message that will resonate in you if you just recognize that you are breathing the breath of God in your lungs. You are alive. And today we have another chance to practice getting it right. Join me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your grace and mercy brought me through. I'm living this moment because of you. I want to praise you and thank you too, for it was your grace and your mercy that brought me through. Boy, 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 I'm telling you, there's some things that never get old because we only live from second to second, moment to moment, and we are currently in the present, right? And the topic for today from the Alcoholics Daily Reflection is no regrets. Oh, I can't wait to dive into this. No regrets. If I had regrets, I would not be sitting here before you today, because through the reading, you will learn how I and millions of others dealt with the regrets of the past in order for the God of our understanding to prepare us and use us just to save one more, just to save one more. So this outfit that I have, that I have all these hearts on it, goes out to you. And guess what? To me too, because I love myself today. Underneath that park car, when I hollered out those words, whoever they say you are, take me out this life or show me a better way. I had no idea what was ahead of me. I knew what was in back of me. And I knew at that moment where I was in desperation, humiliation, degradation, right? Wondering what is wrong with you, Edwina. But I found out later on that was the wrong question. The right question is, what happened to you? What happened to you? So let's go into the reading for today. As you know, I'm going to include the 5 agreements by the Ruiz family. So please get this book. Go online to Miguel, MIGUEL, and listen. Get the book, listen to the online audio. Oh my God, this has increased and elevated my spiritual awareness beyond imagination. I'm on fire. Okay. And definitely go to aa.org to read about all that Alcoholics Anonymous has to offer to help people, right, recover from addiction, alcoholism, the whole 9 yards, to stay sober, and more importantly, or just as important, to help another alcoholic achieve sobriety. All right. Okay, so let's get into the reading for today. All right. So put on your spiritual. Well, I keep forgetting. This is the second day I forgot. Okay, because listen, this is important. Underneath that park car, I did not look like this. And before I can really dive into what the reading is, I need to be totally transparent and totally authentic to let you know I really do love myself today, because God accepts me just the way I am. And He accepted me underneath that park car when I only weighed 90 pounds, skin was dark, face was sunken in, right? And I was just totally, totally spiritually bankrupt, spiritually dead, spiritually naked. And that's when I knew I took off that mask then, and I'm going to take off that mask now. Yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, where? All right, I can't find it. I can't find it, but I don't need the makeup. No, I don't need the makeup. No. I don't even need these. Cocaine and alcohol took my teeth. Yes, they did. But through the recovery process, God gave me, I think this is my second or third set of dentures, right? But I'm just showing you that what I share actually comes from the depth of my soul, my spirit, that God has elevated to another level that I can accept myself just the way I am. It is not about the messenger. It's about the spiritual message. So I'm only going to put these in to be able to articulate and pronunciate the words. So transparency at its best, authenticity at its best. I don't need the masks. I don't. I'm so glad I found out that I don't. I can be just who I am because God is preparing me to achieve my purpose and my destiny. If He did it for me, He can do it for you. All right, let's put these back in. All right. Oh, wow, 2 days in a row, I forgot that. Okay. All right, so let's go to the reading today. All right, so the title is No Regrets, right? All right, so you know this comes from the Alcoholics Anonymous AA Daily Reflections. And it reads, right? No regrets. No regrets. Our co-founder, Bill W., writes, and I will be incorporating the 5 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. Be skeptical, but learn to listen. And I'm applying all these 5 agreements to the topic today, no regrets. So again, Bill W., one of the co-founders, wrote, "We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it." AA page 83. Let me repeat. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. And the alcoholic in recovery shares his perspective, stating, "Once I became sober, I began to see how wasteful my life had been, and I experienced overwhelming guilt and feelings of regret. The program's 4th and 5th steps assisted me enormously in healing those troubling regrets. I learned that my self-centeredness and dishonesty stemmed largely from my drinking, and that I drank because I was an alcoholic. Now I see how even my most distasteful past experience can turn to gold, because as a sober alcoholic, I can share them to help my fellow alcoholics, particularly newcomers. Sober for several years in AA, I no longer regret the past. I am simply grateful to be conscious of God's love and of the help I can give to others in the fellowship." Ooh, Ooh, no regrets. No regrets. And when people like myself at the time, age 34, came into a program that we had no information about, didn't know, at least me, didn't have any idea what it entailed, right? I needed not to make assumptions because when I did in the past, I always wound up drinking again and smoking crack. So this time it was like a total surrender. Wherever you tell me to go, I'm going to go. However long I need to go, I will go. Listen, no assumptions. I knew, however, what was in back of me. Underneath that park car, and after a 14-year addiction, I knew, right? But guess what? Recovery taught me to not regret those 14 years and the things that I did, but to learn from them. Because as long as I was remembering those things and those things were occurring, it kept me sick, it kept me stuck, it kept me changed, right? And so underneath that park car is when the shackles release themselves, right, from me, from my spirituality, and says, no, no, be impeccable with your word. I don't want to drink again. I'm not going to drink again. I don't want to drink again. Take me out or show me a better way. I'm not going to take personally what I say to myself or what others say about me and how they said about me, but I'm my worst enemy. I said some horrific things to myself. No longer am I taking what I say personally or others say personally, right? And definitely practicing not making assumptions, which is why I can do my best in any situation, anytime, because if I incorporate, like I incorporate the 12 spiritual principles in my life, I won't drink one day at a time. I will stay sober, and more importantly, I will help another alcoholic. So I have no regrets. All of those experiences allow me to be prepared to sit before you today. What about you? So let's dive into it, okay? Whew. Okay, all right. So here, let's go. It says, we will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. Now, the recovering alcoholic says, once I became sober, let's stop there. Once I became sober. Once I became sober, right? So when we come into recovery, we are fogged up and things are blurry, and we are still in the obsession and the compulsion mentality, if you will. We are still consumed with guilt, shame, and all of that. But simultaneously, and at the other end of that sword, we seek freedom or we seek death, right? We seek freedom. We don't want the pain anymore. We don't want to hurt anymore. We want it to stop, right? And so the idea that the God of our understanding, who I didn't know about underneath that park car, heard about him, but didn't know him personally, it was like, take me as I am, because I don't want to continue to do and live the way I was living. But at the same time, I don't know what's ahead of me. And so I am humbling myself through this humiliating experience, right? And so once I got sober, the fog began to dissipate. All right. So once I got sober, so we have to get sober. Because as long as we drunk, oh my God, oh me. All right. Once we get sober, the journey begins in another direction. All right. So he says, once I, where my glasses at? Once I became sober, I began to see how wasteful my life had been, and I experienced overwhelming guilt and feelings of regret. Okay? So he said, listen, now, this is very important. Once the fog dissipates, we start getting flashbacks of what we did, how we did it, who we hurt, and all of that. And most times, during the time when we had intervals of being sober, We were consumed with the past. We were consumed with the guilt and the shame. And we had to drink again to deal with all of that overwhelming feeling, right? And so here it says, once we became sober, those same feelings are going to come back of being overwhelmed, right? And having regret, remorse, and shame, all of that. But that's okay. That's okay. But we are sober now. And so it's and what, so what now? What is this program called recovery going to do to help me deal with that overwhelming feeling? Because I don't want to drink again. I don't want to go underneath that park car. So let's see what happened. Right. All right. He says, the program's fourth and fifth step assisted me enormously in healing those troubling regrets. Did you hear that? There were steps that were presented in the 12 spiritual principles, and now including the 5 agreements, right? These are instruments that's going to help us, right? Decipher, dissect, evaluate, right? Perform surgery, right? And so the 4th step, that inventory says, just, God accepted you just the way you are. Now you need to expose everything that you have been concealing, now to reveal it so that you can heal. So in order for me not to deal with those overwhelming feelings of regret, shame, and remorse that will lead me back to drinking, here is the alternative to do a 4th and 5th step. And through that 4th and 5th step, and now in the 5 agreements, my spirituality has taken on another level that I'm on fire, but I needed to begin somewhere. Okay. And so that 5th step, right? We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, right? So if I'm impeccable with my word, I don't want to sin against myself. I don't want to sin against you. So I need someone to talk to help me get to the exact nature of all of those character defects. God-given instincts that far exceeded their intended purpose. What is the exact nature? And we will find out, and have found out, most of it, if not all of it, is based on fear. Fear. False evidence appearing real. Okay, so let's continue, right? So here he goes on to say, I learned that my self-centeredness and dishonesty stemmed largely from my drinking, and that I drank because I was an alcoholic. All right, so let me break that down to you. Right, there are key words in here. He says, right, I learned that my self-centeredness and dishonesty stemmed largely from my drinking. And my perspective says, okay, right, I found out in my 4th and 5th step where those attitudes, ideas, behaviors, belief systems were first formulated, by whom, what conditions, what circumstances, what part did I play in it, right? And so already had been influenced, right, with those negative attitudes, ideas, behavior, belief systems that I just thought was the way of life. And just like everybody else, I wanted to be the center of attention. I wanted to be in control. I wanted to be everything to everybody, and I didn't know who I was. And when I started drinking, when I started using, right, all those formulations of those attitudes, ideas, and behaviors and belief systems were only perpetuated when I drank. Oh, yes. What about you? Okay. So largely. And so that's what, for me, it means that, and that I drank because I was an alcoholic. I can't tell you all when I crossed the line of social drinking to alcoholic drinking, because of the progression of the disease of alcoholism that I now know. And some people don't believe it is a disease, but guess what? I looked up the word addiction, and it goes back to the Greek understanding of Adidas or something like that, and it talked about how the slave was to serve his master. And it became in a different way that I had to succumb to this master. And in addiction, we succumb to alcohol. We succumb to drinking. We succumb to smoking crack. We succumb to shopping, to sex, to love, right? So we become a slave to that master, all right? So I just love recovery, right? And so now I understand that when I crossed over from social drinking to alcoholic drinking, it wasn't obvious. But my life definitely wasn't unmanageable because my self-centeredness didn't want me to see that I was losing weight, that I was unhealthy, that I was lying, stealing, cheating, all those things that were perpetuated from my previous, upbringing. All right. And so now I had to drink, but not no more. Let's continue on. He says here, now I see how even my most distasteful past experience can turn to gold because as a sober alcoholic, I can share them to help my fellow alcoholics, particularly newcomers. Now, oh my God, I am doing my dissertation, right, on 20 individuals in recovery who have shared their story of how the 12-step spiritual program, right, helped them to identify the God of their understanding, whether they call it the creator, the force, the universe, but it was through them sharing their experience, strength, and hope. We are all many and varied. We all come from different aspects of this journey on life. And so when we each begin to share with each other, we see that we, number one, are not alone, but everybody has their own story. And every story, I believe, is designed, right, to have the knee-bowing experience that everyone will have in order to confess with their tongue that he is, right? And so as a result of that, my dissertation is identifying those 20 stories, whether it be whether it be atheists, agnostics, believers, non-believers, no believers, okay? And how this spiritual program using these 12 spiritual principles help them to identify the God of their understanding, deviating from self-will towards God's will, okay? And for the purpose of being able to help someone identify with their stories and challenging them and leading them to the 12 spiritual principles that can change their lives forever. Okay? All right, so I got a few more minutes, okay? All right, so let's see. It says here next, sober for several years in AA, I no longer regret the past. I am simply grateful to be conscious of God's love and of the help I can give to help others in the fellowship. Okay, so he says, I no longer regret the past, right? I simply grateful to be conscious, y'all. Oh my God, oh my God. Listen, the fact that I can sit before you, taking off the mask, taking out these teeth, right? Sharing with you some of the horrific things that I did, right? And I don't know who's watching. And these things I did when I was a teenager or when I was in my addiction, right? And even though they were distasteful and this and that, for example, listen, I wanted to know what it felt like to smack a child, right? Because we were smacked around as children, right? And so while babysitting as a teenager, I smacked a child, right? Smashed food in her face. And the mother always wondered why the baby always act differently when I was around. That baby knew, right? Do you think I would want to share something like that with you? Oh, because I have been set free and I am transparent and I am off. Oh, yes, I can. I am free. I have no secrets anymore. I have no secrets, right? The abortion that I had because I was prostituting. I didn't want to tell nobody that I had an abortion because I was afraid of what people might say. I committed murder in my eyes. That one incident kept me sick for 10 years, and everything that happened to me, I believed I deserved, right? Do you think I want to sit here and tell you that? Yes, I do, because somebody else may be able to relate. Being impeccable with my word, I don't want to sin against myself, and I don't want to sin against anybody else, right? I'm not going to take anything personally that people used to say about me and what I did, and more importantly, what I used to say about me. I could not forgive myself for so long. Oh, I'm telling you, but I'm free. I am free because I learned what happened, right? Huh? Huh? Yes, yes, yes. Babysitting, I did all kinds of things with children, and that's why I understand why I love children today. And that's my way of making amends to them because of what I did to some of them. I am free. I have no secrets. Woo! I ain't got but a few more. Look, 60 seconds. Okay, so let me again share with you the 5 agreements real quickly. Right? It says here, be impeccable with your word. I am going to stay sober today. I am going to finish my dissertation. I am going to become a renowned speaker just to touch one more soul. Instead of saying I can, I won't, I'm afraid, no, hell to the no, no. And when I'm impeccable with my word, for me, I'll be impeccable with my word towards you. I'm not no longer going to take anything personally, not even the negative things I say to myself. And you know what? These things are working, right? Because I listen, when a negative thought come in my head, I would say, oh, no, no, no. When I start thinking negative of somebody else, I say, oh, ho, 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 no, no, no. So this stuff is working, right? And then the next one, it says, right, don't make assumptions. You know what they mean by making an assumption, making a behind out of you and me. I'm not afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to ask me anything, because I'm going to tell you the truth, right? I just hope you can handle it. But if not, that's your issue, not mine. And then when I use all those 3 agreements, I always do my best like I'm doing now. So we learn what the old agreements are, and we use this process to break them in order to make new agreements. So I will always do my best. And then the last one basically says, right? Be skeptical, but learn to listen. Don't believe yourself or anybody else unconditionally. Okay. And so I don't need to recall what my mother or my father or my siblings said about me. And that therefore what I said about myself because I believed it. Right? No, no, no. I know the truth now. I'm a child of God. I know who I am and who I belong to. And so listen, I got to get ready to go to my meeting. Y'all know it's going on 7:30. I just pray that you have been touched, and I don't know who it is, right? But in sharing with you, I help myself too. So enjoy the day, right? Go to aa.org, right, for more information, and definitely get the book called The 5 Agreements. Okay, this it says 4, but it's 5 now, but get it, all right? And one day God will prepare you, if he hasn't already, to touch and save one more soul. To God be the glory.